My great-grandfather, who I was named after, worked with Edison here in New York, so it was really exciting to read the script originally while we were developing it, and then see it all the way through and see it come to life. Alfonso is the most perfecting director in such a great way. He has such a good eye, he's decisive, he knows exactly what he wants, and you can really see that it shows through on this latest cut. He was just so meticulous in every shot during the shooting and as we finalized the film and the editing. This is a story about some names that we've heard a lot before, but many people don't know the history behind it, including a lot of the darker history. So it's a really great way to explore these characters and bring them to life, and I think you learn things that even I never knew.
Right. It's an incredibly emotional process that I'm going through because it's been such a long journey to finally have a moment, have this beautiful moment to release the film, and it's the film that I intended to make, and being surrounded by my cast and my crew. It's incredibly emotional. I can't tell you how cathartic it's been. They're not only brilliant actors, but they're such beautiful, authentic human beings that it was an absolute joy. I think ambition is a quality that we all have in us. I think ego is something that we have to acknowledge, but I think you can still win making ethical choices. We all have ego, we all have ambition, and that's okay to acknowledge that, but it shouldn't outweigh choices that we should make based on ethics and kindness. It was made to be seen in a movie theater. It was made to be an experience shared with other people, a communal experience, and it's a spectacle. It's a contemporary film. Even though it's set in the past, it's about the future, and it's a contemporary film, and it's made to be experienced with others.
I knew relatively little. I knew some of the headlines about Edison's prowess as an inventor. I knew next to nothing about George Westinghouse. I knew a little bit about Nikolai Tesla, partly because of what a prophet he was. If the other two were working a decade in advance, this guy was thinking a century ahead. And so his name had come up in current pop and science culture quite a bit in my experience. So I started at the ground with this one, and, slightly nervous to take on a great American icon, and one who's often credited as being the greatest American inventor of all time, the greatest number of patents, certainly. But what really staggered me was the lengths he went to try and win this war. I mean, pretty nasty tactics, dirty tricks, and fake news, and besmirching his opponent. I thought, my God, this is really sort of ringing quite resonant and true to, sadly, some of the current form in politics and business, but politics in particular. And fascinated me to sort of study a man, great though he was in his achievements, who perhaps failed, and why that was, and to humanize that, to give it a reasoning behind his activity rather than just saying he's the bad guy to his good guy, And what little I fathomed in my experience, I guess, was that he was a profoundly deaf man who came from very humble backgrounds. He was very protective and very quick to be defensive and insecure, and just, it's a great morality tale, I guess, to all of us now, to realize that it really is only by coming together that we can triumph as a species, and there's just no point in being protectionist and marking off your area of fenced out land as he does, metaphorically and literally, Yeah. And I think that's what spoke strongly to me about a story that's relevant for now as well. It's not just two white guys battling it out. It's about male ego. It's about what we do in order to retain stuff and destroy things in the process and lose our humanity. So pretty relevant to what's going on in some parts of the world.
Lastly, what was
It was wonderful to work with Alfonso. Mion and the Dying Girl was just such an extraordinary achievement. I thought for somebody to bring then into now, to make a film that's as rock and roll as it should be, when it's about just the sheer excitement of what it is like to turn on a light and watch something glow to the point that it's like magic or God or something absolutely mystical and enigmatic. How do you create that visually through the language, through the sparsity of storytelling and the visual imagery? And he has such a love and a profound knowledge of cinema that, you know, you couldn't ask for a better Helmmeister, a better captain.
Thank you.
I knew nothing about it. I'd toured Edison's laboratory as a kid, but it wasn't until I was much older and I started to read about the War of the Currents that I thought there could be a great film here. I think the business practices of the people at play and also the way that they skirt the laws are extremely relevant. A few big corporations controlling a commodity that everybody needs, and also the behavior of the people at the very top, or the people at the very top of the companies who refuse to accept accountability. It's the same old story that's told again and again, except this is the one that I think in many ways began the beginning of the digital age.
You know, I think it's a very timely story. I think it's a good time to be reminded of where all this came from, where it started. You know, the technology, the innovations, electricity itself, and the way it was distributed among people it's a very timely story. I love Alfonso. He's he's got a relentless mind. He leaves no stone unturned. And he's very empathetic towards actors, and I'm just very happy that his vision's getting out there.
I think we all feel we know a lot more about Thomas Edison than we actually do. I didn't know about the whole race to kind of find the most viable electric current. I had no idea about the battle with George Westinghouse, and I knew even less about his wife, Mary Edison, who I play, because there was really not a whole lot written about her. So we kind of had artistic license in that sense, which was really nice to create something from scratch. I didn't have any scenes with Michael. We would always kind of cross paths on set, but mostly it was with Benedict, who I'd worked with before, and that was really lovely because he's so nice and makes it very easy. So he'd done a lot of research and he kind of stayed in accent, so it was very easy to inhabit that world. The best thing about working with Alfonso is that coming from the UK, we make a lot of period drama, and it's something that you see a lot of on TV and in film, and actually he had a really unique idea for it. He wanted to film it in a very modern way, very interesting camera angles. He got a really brilliant DOP on board called Chung Hoon Chung, and yeah, I felt he didn't want us to play the period, so it felt like, although it was about someone in the past, it was very much a film about the future and these kind of rock and roll stars of their time. I think that Thomas Edison, we've tried to do as truthful a depiction as possible, and I think that actually he was quite ruthless and ambitious, and maybe it would have been better if Westinghouse and Edison had collaborated in the end to create something even greater, along with Tesla. So I hope that the message is that, as well as progressing forward, we should work together to make something even better than it could be.